Hello everyone, I want to talk about this 10.5-inch upper from Palmetto. Now if you notice there's no lower on it, so nobody knows when I was shooting this if I had a brace on it, didn't have a brace on it, maybe I had a stock on it, who knows, right? So this is how we're gonna do things from now on when we're talking about this, because right now this is not a firearm, okay? No serial number on this. This is not considered a firearm, okay? So anyway, what I have here is the Howison 503G, okay? That's got the ACSS bullet drop compensator, and behind it I have a Vortex 6X magnifier. Let me see if I can get behind the camera, give you guys a peek of what it looks like. Let's see if I can line it up. There he is. See if I can get the eye relief. So you see the the horseshoe, and then you see the chevron with the 3 dots. There you go. So basically, you need a magnifier in order to be able to see the bullet drop, because if you don't have the magnifier on, let me flip it to the side. So without the magnifier, you see the horseshoe? Line it up. There it is, okay. So without the magnifier, you see the horseshoe, you kind of see the chevron, but you don't see the bullet drop. It kind of looks like an arrow in there, okay? So this is, bullet drop is really designed to work with a magnifier. Come on, let's get you lined up. It's designed to work with the magnifier. And this is the Vortex 6X, okay? We flip this over to the side, you can see Vortex over there. When I bought this, the optic was, I think, something like 200 or 210, like around $200. The magnifier was $400 when I bought it a while back, like something like 2 years ago. However, I did see it today for like $325 on Optics Planet. And if you get it with like the holiday discounts and stuff like that, you usually have coupon codes. You could probably get this for about $300. So at $400, I thought it was great. I liked it. I thought it would probably be too expensive for me to recommend to a lot of people. At $300, this is like, yeah, this is good. Okay, this is really good. In my opinion, if all you're looking for is a magnification and a bullet drop, this is the way to go. This is a better setup than an LPVO, right? Because the LPVO adds 1.5 pounds to the top of the gun, okay? So with this, it's got the quick detach. I can basically quickly remove this, and you know, I have a much lighter rifle, okay? So that's the benefit of this. That's what you cannot do with the LPVO. With the LPVO, you're pretty much stuck with 1.5 pounds, right? Between the scope and the mount, you get 1.5 pounds on top of your gun, okay? So if all you want is magnification and a bullet drop, this is the way to go. So I'll give you guys another peek how this looks. Let me see if I can take you guys a little further out. You know, lining this thing up is always a pain in the ass. You know, you still got the eye relief issues, you still got eye box issues. None of that stuff really goes away. I mean, that's the issue. You know, that's basically a magnification issue. Some scopes are better than others. All right. So, like I was saying, if all you want is a magnification, the bullet drop, I definitely recommend this. If you're going to go to an LPVO, I want, you know, for 1.5 pounds, I want a lot more from an LPVO. You know, I want to be able to do range estimating, win holds. I want to be able to lead targets. I want to be able to do team navigation. You know, I want to be able to range estimate other things besides a man, right? Like I want to have a mill system so that I can range estimate other known things. For most people, this is probably going to be the best setup. Okay, now I have this in a red dot, but you can also get. I mean, they have etched reticles, like 1x etched reticles. If you prefer the etched reticle, This does have the diopter in the back. So this is perfect if you've got like astigmatism. So with the astigmatism, you know, if the red dot is a little bit out of focus, you can, you know, with your glasses, you can get a perfect focus. That's kind of what I have to do. I mean, I can still use red dots by themselves, but you know, sometimes they're a little bit off. That's fine. You can get used to shooting that. But using the diopter in the back, I can get like a perfect focus. Okay, so this is really great if you've got astigmatism. And if you notice, there's these adjustment knobs over here. That's not to adjust your optic or adjust your zero rather. This is to center it, because what happens is, you know, you put your red dot on it, right, or your whatever, if you've got an etch reticle, you put that on it, you get a zero. Sometimes when you put the magnifier on it, right, what happens is it doesn't change the zero, but it shifts it. So when you're looking here, when you're looking through the magnifier, you might see it all the way at the edge of your glass, okay? It's still accurate, but it's just that you're looking at it at the edge of the glass. So what these two adjustments here do is they bring it to the center, okay? So these adjustments on the magnifier are for centering. I've covered this before, and usually what I'll do is I will get a quick zero with the optic, then I'll put the magnifier on it and I will re-zero. The reason is because sometimes your zero can change a little bit with the magnifier. Some people will swear up and down that it won't. I have seen that it does. Now, part of the reason I haven't been able to nail down 100% why that is, because when I zero without the magnifier, I'm pretty sure that I've got this thing perfectly zeroed. Like, I'm sorry, that I'm looking at it and that chevron's like right, or that dot is like right in the center of my optic. But what can happen sometimes is when you're looking at it without the magnifier, it may not be perfectly centered, right? So what happens when you put the magnifier back on, the magnifier is now going to force you, because you're looking through a tube, it's going to force you to really go to the center, so you can't cheat it. So what happens is if you were slightly off center, if your head was slightly off center, if you were looking at your chevron or your dot, you know, was slightly off to the left or right, what happens is when you put the magnifier on, then you can't really cheat it. So that's one of the things that can kind of change your zero just a tiny little bit. But anyway, I've done it, and like I was like almost certain that, you know, I was perfectly like in the center. And it's usually an up or down shift. It's not left or right, right? Because if it was a left or right shift, I would say that, yeah, maybe my head wasn't in the right position. But it's usually like 3 inches up or 3 inches down, whatever. The point is that, you know, I get a quick zero with the optic, then I'll put the magnifier on, and then I will fine tune my zero. So with this here, I had a 50-yard zero, and the last time I zeroed this, I used a 77-grain bullet. You guys, there's a video that I posted, I think it was something like maybe 2 years ago at this point, with this 10.5-inch upper. I had it at a 300-yard range. Okay, so at 300 yards, I hit 3 1/4 inches with match grade ammo. Okay, so it was Sierra matchkin. So at 300 yards, 3 1/4 inch. So I know this is a great upper from Palmetto, great barrel. If you notice, I've got the linear comp on here. Now, one of the things I'm going to say, in my mind, a lot of times I kind of lump like the 7.5-inch barrels and the 10-inch barrels kind of like in the same category as far as like noise and flash, okay, and accuracy, right? But one of the things that but the reality is, like, I've actually had to go back and look at my videos, my own videos, so I can kind of see the differences, because usually one day I'll be shooting this, the other day I'll be shooting the other thing. So when I watch the videos back, you know, like kind of like back to back, I can see that there is a significant difference between the 7.5-inch and a 10.5-inch, okay? So the first difference is the noise, okay? So this has a linear comp on it, right? So it's a blast diverter, okay? I think this one's from Quad Valley, all right? So it's got this blast diverter. So with this, the noise is very tamed, okay? It basically sounds almost like a regular 16-inch barrel. A lot of times with the 7.5-inch, I have to double up on the ear protection. And today I was just shooting this with just these earmuffs, and I was like perfectly fine. So usually with the 7.5, a lot of times I have to double up because otherwise I end up with a mild headache. Part of that's like an old age thing, you know. I'm 51 years old, you know. But I had no problem. Like the sound on the 10.5 is significantly quieter than the 7.5. Okay, so that's the first thing that kind of stands out. Now the muzzle blast is still there. Like I've shot this at night. It's still a flamethrower despite the linear comp. There's still a lot of muzzle blast compared to, let's say, a 16-inch. So that's the first thing. But the thing I said, the noise, the 10.5 versus 7.5 is a lot quieter. As far as accuracy, I shot this, like I said, it was at 300 yards. It was a 3¼ inch group. When I shot the 7.5-inch barrel, I think that opened up to, at 300 yards. I think it opened up to about 7 inches. Okay, so the grouping opened up a little bit, quite a bit on the 7.5. So I went from 3.5 to like 7 inches. So the accuracy, there seems to be an accuracy. Now, it's not like I've been like, I shot it one day on the 10.5, went back another day. So it's not like I've shot it a lot, right, at that at that distance. But I've shot it enough times where I'm starting to see a pattern where the 10.5 is a lot, a bit more accurate than the 7.5. Okay, like the 10.5 almost approaches like the 16. Okay. So again, it is a lot. It is much lighter. It is a lot more manageable. 10.5 versus the 16-inch barrel. So I'm starting to kind of I'm starting to really like this 10.5 a lot. I used to kind of just throw the 10.5 and the 7.5 in the same category, loud. It's too loud and too much of a muzzle flash. But I'm starting to feel a little bit better about the 10.5. Anyway, I shot this today, and I shot this a bunch of times today. Now, like I said, originally I had zeroed this in with 77 grain at 50 yards. I shot it with the 55 grain PMC X-Tax today, and when I shot it, I don't have that paper, but basically my bullseye was here. It shot just above the bullseye. Okay, so then what I did is I took it to 100 yards. Okay, so at 100 yards, it basically, let's have the tape here. So with the 50-yard zero, maybe 50 yards plus one, right? Because it was 55 grain bullet, so it went a little bit higher. So from the bullseye, it's about 2 inches high. Now, if this was a 16-inch barrel, usually it's 3 to 4 inches high. So usually the 16-inch barrel is impacting like up here somewhere, right? When I have a 50-yard zero. So because the bullets out of the 10.5 are coming out a little bit slower, my rise is a little bit less at 100 yards. So instead of impacting a little bit higher up here, it is only about 2 inches high versus 3 to 4 inches high on a 16-inch barrel. So then what I did is and that's a 2-inch group. Okay, 2-inch group. I didn't overthink it. I just threw them out there and I said, let's see what this thing gets. So I got a 2-inch group at 100 yards. And then I went to 200 yards, right? So at 200 yards, again, with the 50-yard zero, you can see it's still, I get basically my second zero. It's almost like centering around the 50, right? So initially with the 50-yard zero, I think because with the 50-yard zero, I think I got like a half-inch group, okay? So it was a half-inch group right above the bullseye. So at 200 yards, the group has opened up to 3 inches, right? So it's a 3-inch group. At 200 yards, again with the PMC X-Tax, and essentially I got my second zero. So I think it's doing great. I mean, I'm really loving this. And like I said, at 300 yards, using match grade ammo, I had hit the 3¼ inch group. So again, that's match grade ammo. That stuff's a lot more expensive. This stuff here, a lot more affordable, right? This is like what I would consider like more your standard ammunition. So 200 yards, 3-inch group. I mean, I think it's pretty good. So again, that's your Palmetto 10.5 inch. Okay, I got the Core Valley linear comp. I got the Holosun 503 G with the ACSS, right? That has the bullet drop. And then I got the Vortex 6X magnifier. And we're not going to say anything about the lower and what's attached to the lower. Okay. So maybe I just like kind of mount this like on the top of like my truck or something, right? And I use my truck as a lower. That's what I did. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments below. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you all soon.